Okay, here I am with the new camera, struggling. Oh, here we go. Is it going to work now? That's 7 seconds. It seems to be working. Okay, should we go with it? I'm struggling with the new camera now. It's kind of a pain in the neck. I hope it continues working. Okay, really quickly. SystemJap has a new channel. It's called It's Candy Time, and you should go sub to it. Okay. If you don't know who SystemJap is, he makes really good videos. He's a half Japanese, half American kid with a lot of pizzazz. So go check him out. He's got a new channel called It's Candy Time, in which he reviews exotic candies and such. I'll be doing such a review today. In a few seconds, I'm going to be drinking chocolate beer. You know I like beer. I don't like chocolate. You may not know that. Not very much. I like Snickers bars and M&Ms, but like the bitter stuff I don't like. So today I'm going to kind of do something that's bittersweet. They have two flavors, bitter and sweet. But I'm going to do the bittersweet thing and try it on cam. Other thing I want to talk about, I've had trouble, I actually made two separate videos the other days, but I didn't like them, so I'm doing it again. I'm mentioning it right here. Here it is. BostonTranslation. BostonTranslation is another young guy full of pizzazz, you know, young, dumb, and full of, no, never mind. I don't know anything about intelligence, but he is a damn good video maker, and he's a damn good speaker of Japanese as well, just like SystemJap, just like Brian. His name is Brian, by the way. BostonTranslation's name, he told me his name the other day, but I can't remember what it was. But it's a cool channel name, huh? I think Boston would be a pretty cool name if that's really his name, but I don't think it's his name. Anyway, he has two contests, two things coming up that are interesting. One of them is on his Orabrushjp channel. He is sponsoring this contest through this big company that he works for or with, and they're going to give away an iPod Touch. I think it's an iPod Touch. And so far no one's entered. The rules are you have to use the Orabrush thingamajiggy product on video and talk about it in Japanese, in Nihongo. If you can't do it in Nihongo, well, sorry, that's not for you. The other thing that all of you can take part in is a call to arms, so to speak. He wants to put together a collection of videos about people's adventures. So all you have to do is go out and film yourself having an adventure by February 20th, I believe. And Eric Surf 6 has already done one too, so you should jump in. It's going to be fun. I'm gonna try to get one in as well. I got a week. Oh my God, I'm running out of time. But anyway, that's enough of that stuff. I'm going to test this, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about love. We're just going to go on and on, okay? First, let's get the beer out of the way. Oh, first of all, the smell is, it's weird. It smells like strong chocolate and beer at the same time. And I got to tell you, it tastes good. Well, no, maybe just my lust of beer could be taken. Let me really test it. Oh, it's very smooth. I don't think the bitter. I don't really taste any bitter. It tastes more than tasting like beer, like chocolate. It smells like chocolate. It smells like chocolate, but tastes like beer. I could deal with this. This is good stuff. It's kind of expensive. Sapporo makes it. Sapporo beer and Roy's chocolate. I think that's a big like international chocolate chain. I don't know. Any of you people who know chocolate. As I said, I'm not really a chocolate fan or a fiend or anything, so I don't know. By the way, I'm going to upload this video directly, so that, yeah, just so no editing on this one. I do have a video coming up after this with Hiroko channel, which is much more important to me because it's a Japanese for morons video. Not that this is not important. I know a lot of you guys like these kind of videos in which I just sit down and babble to you for a long time. But anyway, what I want to talk to you today about is love, because Valentine's Day is tomorrow. And a lot of people, you know, do your typical explanations. I've done them in the past. You know, what is Valentine's Day in Japan? I'll sum it up for you very quickly. Women give chocolate to men, generally speaking. There are three types. I've said before there's only two. There's giri choco, which is obligation chocolate. There's honmei chocolate. Honmei choco, which means chocolate that you mean to give to someone you care about. There's another one a lot of people overlook, but I noticed Jason from Jason Argonaut's channel, he noticed about it. It's called tomo choco, and tomo means friend. Excuse me, burp. So you might get one of those if you live in Japan. Like I said, women give things to men. Almost all women to men. I've got some too. I've gotten some already last night from a couple friends. But anyway, I told my wife, don't buy me anything. She's going to buy me something. She always does. But I told her, don't buy me anything. Hopefully she'll just buy a bagel or something. I like bagels. But I think it's kind of a silly waste of money. And when you're married, you know, there's really no point in wasting that one-way money, you know. Just let's go out to dinner and have a good time together, that kind of stuff. That's what I prefer. But anyway, a couple little funny things about misunderstandings that I've had in the past. With my first year in Japan, I was teaching a class, and an adult woman there, her name was, I think, Yumiko. It was over 20 years ago. But she came up to me. Well, actually, I was getting on the train to go home, and she kind of like, you know, ambushed me and said, "I have chocolate for you." I said, "Oh, thank you." And I didn't know anything about, you know, the way chocolate was done in the old days. So I thought, "Oh, wow, this is something." And she said, "It's honmei choco," and I thought she was trying to say handmade chocolate. You know, I thought it was just her bad pronunciation. And I said, "Oh," and it was weird because I remember it was like a Daffy Duck. It came in a Daffy Duck like cup, like a mug, and but it looked store bought, right? So I was like, "Oh, you made this? Okay, maybe she just bought the canister," and I don't know, but turns out she liked me, and nothing ever happened. It was a really weird, like almost romantic relationship because neither of us could speak enough of the other person's language to really communicate. But we had a lot of fun just hanging out with each other and talking with dictionaries. And we would go out sometimes. She'd take me around to certain Japanese places, and I actually she was kind of loaded. I remember now, and she had me spend the night a couple times. But you might think, "Oh, Victor, pretty lucky." No, like I get my own room and futon and everything. And like the first night, I was like a novelty, and the father came home. The whole family was really nice. But the second time, the father was like, "Hey, you're spending too much time with this guy." So I could tell that the father wasn't really too happy about my presence there. I eventually I got a girlfriend, and I had to stop seeing her in any way, you know, friendly way. You know, nothing ever happened, but I think we kissed once when we were both drunk, but I don't remember. So 20 years ago. But so anyway, honmei choco and handmade chocolate. Big mistake there, language mistake. Another little misunderstanding I had was, actually it had nothing to do with Valentine's Day, but when people first started having friends on their cell phones, they would call them meiru tomo. And I thought, you know, oh, meiru tomo means, and someone said, you know, meiru is English, right? So I assumed meiru meant male, like a man, you know, a man with a penis, you know. And I made inadvertently I made the joke that I wanted a female tomo, and my students thought it was cute. And I didn't realize, I think for like a couple years even, that I completely didn't understand what meiru tomo meant. So that kind of stuff happens even now. Like you think you understand something, and you discover that, hey, you know, I completely didn't understand what that word meant, or that kanji or something like that. So you know, learning Japanese is it's an endless you know, journey of disappointment. But but it's good. I still feel good when I learn something. So okay, let's get to the meat of the whole thing. Love in Japan, right? Okay, yes, it's true. If you're a man, like 70% of my channel or 65% of my channel is men. If you come to Japan, and I am going to get to the women, so you can hang on to. The chances, because you're a gaijin, there will be girls who are willing to date you for that reason. However, as I've said before, that gets pretty old pretty quick for me, but some guys never get tired of it, and they kind of take advantage of it. It brings out the worst in a lot of guys, as in they, you know, give them a little power and they go nuts, and a lot of guys go nuts. As I've said in the past, they don't represent their countries very well, because they really take advantage of what little, you know, that aesthetic appeal that being foreign gives you, and they get really bad, you know. What can I say about that, except that in the end, when it comes to having a meaningful relationship, all the foreignness is going to be irrelevant. You're really going to have to, you know, communicate as a real person, and not rely on your blonde hair or blue eyes or anything like that. Personally, I found it, after a while, it got kind of annoying just to be sought after simply because I was a foreigner. I do remember this one girl, it was kind of funny. I think it was funny. So we started dating, and my Japanese was already pretty good, and we'd go out, and I remember like one of our, I think we only had like 2 dates because she was just an idiot, but she's like, don't speak Japanese. I mean, yeah, it's strange. You should speak English, but the funny thing is she couldn't speak English, so it was like, you know. Basically, it was just ridiculous. You know, she didn't really appreciate the fact that I could speak Japanese and communicate. She wanted me more to be her foreign boyfriend, right? And you know, that ended really quick. I actually I not broke up with her. I kind of just stopped calling her when after our second date, she spent a good part of the dinner, you know, using her cell phone, which annoyed the hell out of me. So, although she was hot, I erased her phone number after I walked her to a taxi. And well, you know, that's not really what happened, but I'm not going to tell you what happened. But I erased her number, and she called me the next day, and I didn't, you know, I couldn't tell who was calling, or a couple days later. But anyway, I couldn't. I'm like, who's this? But it was cool. I mean, I ended up running into her like 6 months later. She's like, I'm getting married. So, here's something funny about girls in Japan. First of all, a lot of them will date you because you're a foreigner, and I'm under the suspicion that one reason they want to date a foreigner is because they're under the impression that we're more gentlemanly towards them, right? And in general, we are. However, here's the catcher. Here's the clicker. Here's the kicker. Okay, let's get. Where's my beer? Where was I? Yes, the kicker. A lot of foreigners marry Japanese because they're not married, but date Japanese girls or are attracted to them because a few reasons, of course. One being that they're clean. That's a terrible thing. The one being that some of them are submissive. Some of them are very considerate, meaning they have without being asked, they kind of do things for you, like clean and wash things and take care of you, you know. And foreign guys are not used to that, so they find it quite, you know, attractive. Now, in my case, you know, my wife unfortunately doesn't do any of that. She doesn't really take care of me like that, which is fine. But that's, you know, that's I'm giving you generalities. So yeah, so that's the funny thing. See, some Japanese girls though, they want a foreign guy because he doesn't expect that kind of pampering and that kind of lack of balance when it comes to. I'm talking about marriage now, but mostly. Yeah, so they marry foreign guys because they think the foreign guy will be more gentlemanly and share, you know, the housework and stuff like that. In fact, there was a movie by the same guy who's in that English series, YouTube English series TV show. I forgot his name, but he plays a foreigner who's married to a Japanese, and she asks him to do like housework and stuff, and he's like, I don't understand, you know, and he talks to some other Japanese people, like, do you ask your husbands to do housework? And they're like, no. Yeah, you know, the fact that this camera is causing me so much problems makes it hard to concentrate a little bit. So the technology is getting in the way of the creativity. I apologize for that. I'll try to stay on topic. Yeah, but you see what I'm saying is that different expectations. Foreigners marry for you know, to be pampered a little bit more than they would normally by maybe a Western woman. And Japanese women, generally speaking, marry foreigners because they want more equality, you know. So, and sometimes that doesn't quite, you know, fit. But anyway, what can I say about that except that in the end, it's just two human beings stuck together forever. So you're gonna have to talk a lot to make any marriage work, regardless of what languages you speak or do not speak. So that's enough about that. I will tell you something else about the way Japanese women are. And here's a funny thing. I'm pretty sure there's more men in Japan than there are women. But despite this, there are so many Japanese women who don't have boyfriends, and a lot of they call them old misses in Japanese. That's basically what we call them, old maids. They say old miss. I think they say old miss. Anyway, it's miss, not maid. But It's kind of strange, huh? I have seen Japanese girls try to be kind of aggressive, like making the first step. And let me take a time out here. It's something very interesting. At New York University many years ago, I went to New York University, but I don't remember where I learned this, but what they did was they filmed this bar like all night, you know, and at the end of the night they would look at what couples paired off with each other. And they would kind of rewind the film and try to find out how they, you know, who made the first move, basically. And it was always the women. It was always women. And a lot of guys say, no, the guys made the first move. Yeah, the guys made the first move, but the women gave them a signal. So, psychologically speaking, the women made the first move. They did something that made the guy think he had a chance. So that's interesting, right? So, but in Japan, what I'm going to tell you about is all personal experiences. Some women will show that they like you by actually, I've gotten like love letters, of course the homemade choco, and then the weird stuff like people, the creepy stuff, you know, people showing up to at your apartment and knocking on the door, you know, suddenly. Yeah, I've got some creepy stories. There was this one cute little girl I taught like years ago. I don't know, she's like 5 years old or something. This is years ago. And one day her mother, oh my God, this is a nightmare. She shows up in my apartment, you know. Excuse me, got something in my eye. I'm not crying, just something in my eye. Yeah, she shows up at my apartment and I got something in my eye, great. And, you know, all with a bottle of wine and, you know, ready for action. And I'm like, you know, she's married and I'm teaching her kid, and is my eye really red now? But I'm proud to say I fought that one off. Yeah, that was I did invite her in, but I explained to her, you know, why she was crazy, basically. There was another woman. Well, actually, when I was here only like less than 2 years, that happened. Like I've been here like 6 years or so I could speak Japanese with her. But I was here like 2 years once, and it's like, I was teaching this class of like, I don't know, 14 women, 10 to 14 women, and they were all middle-aged or so, and I'm like 22 years old, 23 years old. And they're all very high level, you know. And one day, there's you know, a letter is shoved into my door in my apartment building. This is a creepy one. And it's this like 10-page letter from one of my students. Can I say her name now? I guess I can say her name. Well, I'll just say Kay. Kay, I remember. I think it was Kay. But anyway, so it's this like 10-page love letter. It's like, I think of you when I get on the bus and all the way to work. She's an English teacher in another school somewhere. And I'll, you know, it's like, I see you in the eyes of every man. And it was like, oh my God. And I was like really dating hard. That sounds weird. I was into this. I was dating somebody. I was busy, romantically involved. And she calls me, you know, like later that day. I don't even know how she got my phone number because I never gave it to her. And I'm like, I don't know what you expect me to do. Like, your children are my age, you know. I think her son was like older than me or something. You know, I don't know what to say, you know. I mean, I have a girlfriend. I just don't know what you expect of me. And she's like, well, let's just pretend it never happened. I'm sorry. And she apologized. But, you know, for the rest of the semester, every time I saw her face, I couldn't make eye contact because I was young and naive. Well, you know, I couldn't make eye contact. So I'd go around the room and talk to everybody. When I got to her, I had to kind of like skip over her, you know. I couldn't look at her right in the eye. That was a funny one. These are all failures, so of course. I'm just telling you horrible stories. Not to scare you, but just... There was the other time this really creepy little girl that I taught. She was actually a woman, but she was kind of creepy. And she take classes and short and never talked in class. She started coming to my house at night when I was there with my girlfriend and leaving presents on the door. That was really weird, you know. And these are just my experiences. I know lots of other guys who've had horrible experiences with women here. Why am I telling you all the negative things about Japanese women? Here's what I will tell you. In general, all women are basically insane at one time or have the capability of being insane. But then so do all men. But you know, since I'm a man, I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, there's quite a few horror stories of women who have cut themselves open because this girl I was dating, her brother's girlfriend, ripped her stomach open because he refused to marry her. And I was there the night I was with her, the night she got the phone call about this horrible stories. I know another girl who cut her arm in front of her boyfriend because she couldn't kill him because she was too chicken. But Valentine's Day, it's the same everywhere in the world. Love, you know. There is insanity. Love is insanity. Well, the chocolate beer was pretty good. This video was pretty much pointless, except to say that it's not all, you know, it's not all chocolate and beer in Japan here. You know, hopefully you'll find love. Oh yeah, I got to talk to the women, yes, Japanese men. Okay, I actually get a lot of emails occasionally. I've gotten a few emails, not a lot, a few emails from foreign women who come to Japan, and they're like, am I going to be able to find a boyfriend? And I'm like, yeah, you will. There are a lot of foreigners here who come here who don't want to date Japanese girls, but they like being here. So yeah, there is that. You will find one probably. The majority of men, though, do date Japanese girls for the sole reason that there are more Japanese girls here than there are foreign girls, and you interact with Japanese girls more often than foreign girls. You see them more, so of course you're going to end up dating them. But there's kind of like that Charisma Man book, you know, goes. Excuse me, burp. There is kind of like the Western woman who kind of destroys the foreign man. I mean, I've had a lot of Western women friends as well here, and I've dated a few too. Remember, I've been here a long time, so before you start saying I'm a male slut or anything. But in general, actually, to be honest, a lot of them feel frustrated because they have trouble it's a little more competitive for them, you know. However, there are Japanese guys, lots of Japanese guys who are interested in foreign girls, but you've got to give them a chance. If you're into Japanese guys, you'll have no problem. There are a lot of men here who are interested in you. However, in the past, and 20 years ago, I remember that I'll give an example. Riding in the subway, there's a newspaper. On the back of the newspaper, there's a little clip. It's like a sports paper. There's a little like article about pickup lines to say to foreign girls, you know. And they're not even pickup lines. Some of them are like just nasty things to say. And the assumption, basically, from what I understood in interacting with people, was that a lot of Japanese people assumed that foreign girls were all sluts and loved sex. Not that that's a bad thing, but basically they were reduced to that kind of stereotype. So there's also that. I don't think that stereotype really exists so much anymore. But yeah, they do, I guess, expect you to be a little more aggressive, and that's pretty much all I know about that. I do know quite a few women who've gotten married to Japanese men. They seem to be very happy. There was I know one girl who's got 2 or 3 kids, but she never sees her husband because he's always working. She's always complaining about that. So there's that too, you know. But that would be the same complaint. Okay, camera turned off again. I don't know why, but I'll see if I can pick up where we were. We were talking about marriage here. I'll make one last comment and wrap up this video, and that is that, and I don't know how it is in the States. I can't really, talk about this in the States. I don't have any experience with it. But I do know that it seems that a lot of Japanese married women are more prone to come on to single guys. Not just I'm not talking about just my. I'll tell you what I used to do. Every Thursday night I would get together with my buddies and we'd all go to Yamachan's, which is an izakaya, kind of a pub restaurant here, and we talk and shoot the shit, and not just Thursday nights, but other nights. But we'd have these long, interesting discussions about things in Japan, and these guys had been here longer than I had when these conversations started, but. Basically, what they told me, it turns out that my experience seemed to be, my experience seemed to support this, and that was that Japanese women, married women, some of them are quite open to the idea of extra curricular activities outside of marriage, extramarital, activities. And I was surprised, and it's like I said, that previous experience of that woman, the 40 or 50-year-old woman. In my memory, it seemed like she was like 50, but she was probably, since I was 22, she was probably only like 40 or something, which is actually not that old. Should have jumped on it, but yeah, and I told you, like, that woman who came to my door, that's pretty weird. So yeah, that kind of thing happens, and talking to my buddies, yeah, there are women like that. So not to judge, but that's kind of a weird thing. Oh yeah, I'll give you a weird story. Here's a weird story. I remember this one. I had a student many years ago who invited me to a party, and everyone at the party was a middle-aged woman, and she had also, and a lot of them had brought along their young, like 20-something-year-old man, and it was bizarre. It was like this weird, like, sex club, to be honest, And I went there with my coworker. We kind of, who happened to be the same age as my student. Whatever, mid-30s or something. But again, I guess the women were all mid-30s or late 30s. But when we got there, we realized that it was kind of a setup. They were like, I had been invited to perhaps go home with someone and become their lover. I guess the kind of thing that happens in France, only the other way around. Like a young girl becomes the mistress of an older woman. So that was weird, and when we realized what was happening, my coworker and I escaped. But yeah, man, this is probably the most this is, I know, a very erratic and terrible video, but I thought I would just, I'd give you something that's not so romantic on Valentine's Day, and give you, lift up the veil on the woman called Valentine's Day, so to speak. All right, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you got this far, then you should say, give me some sweet chocolate. All right, see you later.